Hey everyone, it's Mike with Monkey Fab. Today, I think we're going to be working on the suspension. So I went to the metal store and I was able to get a couple of sticks this nice, thick, I think it's 11 gauge, 1x2 square tubing. Got two of them. So got to get this guy, okay, and use it to tie into our back suspension stuff. So we got our sway bar end links, and we got these mounts for the factory. You see it straight across for the factory sway bar end links. And what I'd like to do is run that across. We're gonna have to figure out the center lines and drill these holes and bolt it in. And then what that's gonna do is it's gonna come out to about right here on the frame rail. And then what I need to do is tie into on the frame rail something to come down, and what I like to do is just bolt it, keep it bolted for now. Just makes it a little easier to get in and out, I think. And I have, basically I'm thinking I have this ledge here, so it's probably about 3 inches to work with, where I'm not really getting into the wheel well, because I'd have to mini tub this guy if I was going to go wider than what I have. But you really have some massive wheel wells on these old X bodies, so that's not really a concern. Still waiting on the wheels, which have been ordered maybe 3 weeks ago. Custom offset. The guy told me 1 week, and that was 3 weeks ago. So I figured I'd give it another week and then call him up and start pestering him, because I kind of get annoyed when people bug me, but I don't think that would be unwarranted to start checking in on them after a month. And I'm waiting for the tires. I knew the tires weren't going to ship until like the first part of September, which we're into already, so I'm hoping that those guys will show the status as shipped soon, because right now they're just showing as back ordered over on Jegs. So yeah, so we're gonna need to get this guy, get to laying out some stuff, taking some measurements, and working on getting the sway bar mounted. The other thing we got to do is figure out where, come on, I got the sun working against me. I got the garage door open. We're gonna shut that because it is still in the 90s, which is horseshit, but you know, it's Texas. So we need to figure out where the pads are going to sit on the axle right now, and clean off all the paint and get those tacked in so we can weld them in, burn them in nice and hot on the axle. And that will be mounting the sway bar, or the anti-roll bar, or whatever you want to call it. It'll be fun. Follow along. We got that guy in there, and not too bad. I'll show you what I did. It was pretty easy. I just took, let's see if I can turn the light so you guys can see a little better. So I took the where the guys were and I marked them with a silver marker, and then I held this up and I scribed it, and did that on both sides, found the center with the square, and just popped those holes in it so those bolts could go through. It's 11 gauge, so it's pretty good. Like this, just had to make this access port. Now in typical 1970s manufacturing style, the holes are certainly not straight, but they're pretty close. You know, they're clocked a little on either tab with no rhyme or reason, so you can just tell they smashed up there, spot welded them in, and everybody was happy. So I just punched them out just a little bit bigger than what they needed to be, and the heads on those screws were real big, so no big deal. So the thing I got to do now is try to figure out how we're gonna incorporate some sort of bracing here. And what I'd like to do is make some sort of brace that welds around this guy here, at least halfway on there onto this guy, and it has like maybe a foot, and then this will bolt into it maybe. As long as we're not, again, sticking past this fender well, I feel like that's a relatively safe bet on that. And it looks like if we come down here, you can see we actually got quite a bit of room between that frame rail and the actual inner fender liner there. So I'll probably lower it down and take a look, just kind of eyeball it. I got some ideas, but haven't really made up my mind yet on what I want to do. I'll probably incorporate some of the square tube is what I'm thinking in my mind right now, and cut it down maybe at an angle to use it, and weld the nut on the inside is my train of thought right now. So we'll lower it down, kind of brainstorm it, and see what happens. Okay, so we got this guy cut out, and we put a bit of a boop into it. Actually, that angle is cut into it. I have no idea what it is, but we're gonna make it work. So what we have is a number 16 M16 by 2 nut. It's a big nut, and what I think I can do is get this nut welded onto the inside of meow, and then cut this guy out so it will sink into the frame rail, and I'll weld a plate on the bottom to capture that guy on, and yeah, I'll just be able to take this guy, kind of miter it like this, and then we can drive a nut up to the bottom, yeah, and it shouldn't stick out past the fender liner, is kind of what my thoughts are right now. And that will support it here, and where these pads are going to go. And we'll have to make little mounting tabs for these guys to weld onto this bar, but that will support either side on like basically double what the factory kind of thing was, which I think should be pretty good. And that's the plan. So the plan's just as needed. So we're gonna kind of start carving away, and both, shockingly, the other frame rail is like a completely different contour, so I can't just make mirror image and smash it on there. Each one's gonna have to be individually worked. So that's probably what I'll be doing, and I'll probably run a little bit of time lapse on that, but it'll probably be some boring stuff too. So, yeah. Hey everybody, it's Mike with Monkey Fab. Admittedly, didn't get very far yesterday. Yesterday being Saturday, today being Sunday. But that's because it's my wedding. It was my wedding anniversary, so I think that I got anything done on the wedding anniversary is pretty good. And also, you know, shows that I got a pretty good wife, pretty understanding wife. So, so far we got this guy laid out right here. It's bolted in. Let's see, I'll flip the screen around so I can see what I'm showing you. And let's see, here's the ledge of the inner fender here on a T-square, and this is where we're going to end up. So we just took a scribe, we bumped this up into there and took the scribe and just marked either side where we needed to cut it at, and kind of got this off weird design, but it fits. Oh, it should fit. Yes. So it fits in there nice and tight enough to weld it. I do need to take off a little bit of the bottom so I can weld the plate onto that with a nut on the inside, and that way we can just, what we'll do is we'll smack it in there, tighten it down, and then weld it in place. That way it'll be all squared away, ready to go. And yeah, so that is what we're doing. This side is kind of done. I'll probably grind a little bit off of the bottom of this. I'll probably get halfway through before we get too hot to hold, and then I'll just set it down and move on to the other side, do the same little notch deal. I probably won't record that because it doesn't really matter. It's kind of funny though that the other side is totally different. Not totally different, but more noticeably different than this side. But you know, 70s manufacturing and stuff, I already said that. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and call this episode right here. Thanks you guys for dropping in. This turned out to be really complicated. Still got a bunch of welding and metal shaping and forming and stuff to do to get this thing all lined up, and then, you know, figure out the actual bar itself. And to be quite honest, I'm not much further than one update ahead of where we're at. So we're going to call this a two-part, the sway bar thing, and hopefully I'll get it done this weekend, and I'll make a video for that. And again, thanks everybody for dropping by and checking out the channel. I'd be highly appreciative if you drop by my website, monkeyfabgarage.com, and give it a look. See if there's anything there that might capture your eye. Just, you never know. It might. So, till next time, this is Mike Monkey Fab signing out.